That's good. Thank you. All right. So we will start. Hello, everybody. I hope you are all fine with this pandemic situation. And despite current problems, your preparation is continuing, as well as mine. Though I'm not going to pass the state exam. I'm taking part in Cambridge exam this summer, and the structure, maybe you know, is quite similar. So I can say that I'm literally preparing with you and understand your situation entirely. So I will try to give you some tips about one reading task of the state exam. I didn't know at the moment of formulating this topic that you were going to have another webinar about reading. It was precisely a week ago, so if you haven't seen it for some reasons, you can do it after our webinar. However, I suppose that you have seen it already and know the basis. So I'm not going to retell you just the same. Instead, I will try to tell you something that wasn't there. Other tips of doing the task that I consider as effective. I give you some training with explanation step by step, and do not take too much of your time today. I appreciate that you have decided to join me. And for full participation, you will need a computer or a laptop, something with a big screen, just to read. So a couple of words about me. That's me, Mikhail Polkovnikov. I'm teacher in Institute of International Education, Moscow State Pedagogical University. I graduated from here as well. And my education relevant in this case is modern technologies in teaching English here. However, not only do I teach English, but also history. That's another subject that I teach. And I think that if you can imagine a historian as a person who reads a lot, you guessed right. That's me. And that's, I think, the reason why reading tasks are usually quite easy for me. Of course, I recommend you doing the same, but I'm sure that you've heard it a million times already. So we will not discuss it right now or here. But if you are still interested in something, anything relating to reading, I will gladly answer all the questions after the webinar. So let's start, shall we? Well, tip number one. Usually when we work on these paragraphs, we really don't need all of them, all of text that we are given with. For example, and we will do it exactly on these examples. Let's read the headlines. That's first. Moscow is not for sale. The city of the future, true to life, the younger generation, a new home, one of many, a team effort, and a hidden treasure. Okay, we keep it in mind. And we can start reading the first paragraph. I will do it for you at first, and then you will do it for your own. Well, Hotel Ukraina is a remarkable building, nothing related with the headlines. It is located in the beginning, avenue on the bank, built somewhere, nothing related with the headlines. So we can go further and to see, but if you go inside and walk all the way to the end of the lobby, you will be rewarded with an even better site, the existence of which is not widely known. That's the word that we really need. So existence of which is not widely known. Which headline do you think is that? That's right, number 8. Obviously, existence is not widely known and a hidden treasure. Other headlines are not good here. They're not appropriate. And the thought that I want to deliver is that we really don't need all these words. They're here only to create a story or to distract you or something else, but they're not relevant for you. So what you really need to do is sometimes not just read the whole paragraph and understand the overall meaning, but to find a couple of words, a sentence, or even a part of a sentence that you really need. Okay, we will do it just the same technique with the next paragraph. Okay, you will see the diorama of the central part of the Moscow, as it looked, blah, 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 was made by a large group of artists. That's really all that you need here. Was made by a large group of artists. Can you tell me, please, which headline is that? Yeah, that's the point. And you're all right. You do not make real mistakes here. So it's quite obvious. All that you need to do is to find the right piece of the paragraph. The last one that I will do instead of you is number C. And what do we need here? The model, okay, blah, blah, blah. We can really skip all the paragraph and just go to the last sentence, which is, by the way, quite short. The model is very detailed and accurate. Which paragraph is that? I'm sure you will be. Yep. Well, think again, the model is very detailed and accurate. How is that related with the younger generation? Well, some of you are right. Okay. Okay, let's speculate a little bit on that. The model is very detailed and accurate. I think that the meaning is obvious. So the city of the future. Where is the future here? Where is the city here? Another option that you suggested is the younger generation. But again, there is nothing about really youth or next generation or something else. Other headlines are also not appropriate here. But Emil and Tatiana, great job. True to life. So the model that we have here is detailed and accurate. So it means that it is true to life, right? Isn't that obvious? Also, we can read the other part of the paragraph, and you will find nothing more than just an evidence that it is detailed and accurate. So you can see the Kremlin and the Red Square with cathedral and river trams. So that's a lot of details. And all of this is summed up in the last sentence. Well, I think the idea is clear here. So please do the other 4 paragraphs for yourself. You will have, I think, 3 minutes on that, and that will be enough. So just put 4 numbers in the chat, please. And please use the same methodic. Yeah, you're absolutely right. D is 1. The artist refused to sell it. What it? The model of the city. City is Moscow. Moscow is not for sale. Obvious. E5. Yeah, that's right. I think you even do not need an explanation here, but just in case, it was purchased by hotel and it's been admired by the guests. So obviously, a new home. Well, about number F, we have different options here, but most of you think that it is B. Well, again, we can find just a little bit of the paragraph that will show you that it is really not number 2, not the second headline. Are there any other options except for 2, for F? Well, okay, we can do it together. Well, even though so special and unique, it is not the only one model of Moscow that exists in the city. A new architectural model of Moscow was built in VDNH. Okay, so a new one. The city of the future, it has nothing to do with that. Where here are mentioned like something like the future years, or I don't know, something really related with the future. There's only one, again, model, one else of the Moscow. Actually, we can see just in the first sentence. Even though so special and unique, this is not the only model of Moscow that exists in the city. So one of many. If that's not only one model, it means that there are different models. There are many of them, and one of them is described here. So that's really one of many. And what do you think about G? Yep, right. G is 4. Why is that? Since a particular point in the time, 1940, there have been made many models of different cities around the world. So many models of different cities since the first one. So we have the first one, and then we have a lot of models. That's the younger generation. Okay, I think we are finished here. Answers weren't always right, but I think we will fix it by the end of the webinar. And one else tip that we can see right here is using such words as but, however, the most important, more important, in addition, a lot of them, conversely, for example, or on the contrary. All these words are used to underline some meaning, to underline the next sentence, to make an accent on it. We can see it actually in the first paragraph, but if you go inside, and that's only actually what we have after but is what we really need. Maybe you know the phrase, I don't really care what you told me before the but, you know, because after but or however or any words or phrases that mean just the same, we usually put the most important message that we want to deliver. So pay attention to them. Pay attention to linking words like that, because they can really help you. That's not 100% true, but that's really one useful tip. And again, here, please always pay attention to the headlines themselves. That may seem really obvious, but in fact, sometimes you put a lot of, you pay a lot of attention to the paragraphs, but you just skip all the headlines and think that that's absolutely okay and clear. That's not. Because in the paragraphs, one of the aims that the examinators have is to deceive you somehow. So, for example, if there was not Moscow is not for sale, but for example, St. Petersburg is not for sale, okay? And we have paragraph number D that you all did right. In this case, it obviously wouldn't be the right answer because we talk about the Moscow. And a lot of students just do not pay enough attention to the exact formula, exact words that are in the headline. So do not make the same mistake. And that's the answers. But we actually did it together. So the next tip that we can have here is underlining the key words. That's another task. You will do it, but we can do the first paragraph together. So in addition to being highly intelligent, elephants are capable of a remarkable amount of empathy. We can underline the word empathy. Then during natural disasters, elephants are able to understand, keyword, to understand that something dangerous is happening. They can, again, understand that the person in a trouble and that the situation is unsafe. Elephants have good sense of smell, and there have been cases when they alert rescuers to people trapped in a building. Elephants have been observed saving their young from drowning and also been filmed trying to save people they see at risk of drowning. Maybe you don't know what drowning is. If you do, that's good. But in any case, you don't need it really, because they're safe and that's all that you really need here. So we can underline such words are capable, empathy, disaster, understand, understand again, person in trouble, unsafe, safe, saving, from drowning. If we underline these words, what do you think is the appropriate headline here? Absolutely right. Yeah, ready to help. And pay attention to headline number 2. saving rare animals. That is done just to deceive you. In order you to mistake, because they really want you to mistake. That's one of the purposes of the exam, to check whether you will be deceived or not. So we have a lot of save in the first paragraph and saving rare animals, but there is nothing about rare animals or rare anything at all. But ready to help is the right answer, because they're always ready to help people. Here, the underlined words is really key to success. And we will do the second together, and then you will do it for your own. So a lot of studies suggest that green spaces enhance mental health. Maybe you don't know what enhance is. Doesn't matter. What you can just think for yourself. What green spaces can do with mental health? Usually it's something good. Doesn't matter what enhance particularly means. Just it's something good, that's okay. And learning capacity. Okay. Immediately over time, lowering stress levels. You know what that's. Restoring attention, quite obvious. They restore attention again. Calm the nervous system. You know that. Ideal state for learning. Spending time in the sunlight can reduce attention deficit symptoms. So you know attention, you know deficit, you know symptoms. That's quite easy, can improve mood and the quality of sleep. So that's all good, 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 great, super, nice. What may it be? Well, which headline do you think it is? Yeah, Emil, Tatiana, I'm glad that you are really active and take a lot of participation here. That's right, benefits of being outdoors. Outdoors, outdoor, за дверью, quite obvious, and benefits, I think you know what is that. Benefits is something good, and the whole paragraph B is about something good. So we just underline the words that mean something good. There's a lot of them, and we have the answer. So please do the same with T, D, E, F, G, but try to underline all the key words, because that's the exercise that you should do here. Okay, do not just read and try to guess. Underline the words. It may take you more time, but it's really helpful. So I want you to train this a little bit. You will have 5 minutes on that. Please start. Yep, you're all right. Just great. You have 2 minutes left, so hurry up, please. And yeah, you're absolutely right. With D, with E, that's great. Ekaterina, you're very fast. That's good. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the last piece. And G8. G8. That's absolutely right. So, what are we going to do now? We will move to the last task. But before we do, please write down in the chat, in English of course, all the tips that you have heard today. Okay? So that we use them at the last task. Just to sum up. Keywords. What else? What did we do? Yeah, need to read the headlines carefully. That's right. Actually, I can spoil you a little bit. You will need it in the next task. Yeah, you need to underline keywords. What did we do the previous slide with the previous task? Can you remember? Yes, that's right. Pay attention to linking words, and the key, I think, the main tip that we did the last paragraph is, do you remember, to skip the most of the paragraph because you really don't need it. So that's the answers, and you were all right. So I think we can go further to the last task, and here you will do it completely for yourself, just to check whether you are really ready or not, and how successful were my tips. I think that they were successful, and we will see it out of your results. Underline keywords. Read the headlines carefully. Pay attention to linking words. And you don't really need the most of the paragraph. By the way, do not look at the answers of different participants, because that will not help you. Just think for yourself. Maybe they are wrong. You don't know. You have 4 minutes to finish the task. Remember about time constraints. Yeah, mostly you're always right, but there were some mistakes, really. So check again. Maybe you will need to come to the end and check all the paragraphs because you give the final answer. That really helps. Well, you have 1 minute left, so please hurry up. Half a minute to finish. Well, time's up. And you can see the answers. There. And some of you made some mistakes, especially in G. And I will explain why. You think that that's history, no, that's the reason to domesticate cows. But what is cow, do you think? Do you know the translation of cow, just without using a dictionary? Do you know? Yeah, Maria knows. And cow is корова. So here is really nothing about cows. Yeah, they began to domesticate animals for meat, milk, hides. Okay, we do this with cows. Hides were used, blah, 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 followed closely by sheep. Later, people began domesticated larger animals, such as oxes or horses, but there is nothing about cows, really. And that's why I advise you to read carefully the headlines. Because the reason to domesticate, yeah, that's all, that's absolutely applicable to G. Reason to domesticate, but not cows. Just there is nothing about cow that's about animals generally. So that's obviously not appropriate here, and we end up with headline number 1, the history of taming, because that is also what is described here. Also, there were some problems with number B, and here is, I think it's even more easier because one of the smallest in Russia, Rizov, one of the smallest in Russia. Then, this is a unique area with its natural diversity of pine and mixed forests, blah, blah, blah. Here you can observe the life of animals. This is the wild forest, Bal. So that's obviously a beautiful place, right? And it should be saved by the logic of organizers. So I think that it's quite understandable with G and with B also. We don't need the headline number 4 here. Well, with others paragraphs, it would be quite good. You were right. And you actually earned most of the points that you could. And some of you did really great job and did all the tasks right. So for now, please need some feedback from you. Please, can you put in chat which number is more is closer to what you feel right now after the webinar? Well, thank you. Thank you very much for participation, for attention. I hope that it was helpful. And remember that if you were already perfect, you just would need to listen to me and to participate in this webinar. So all these mistakes, they will really help you to not make them at the exam. That's the reason why you're here, because you make mistakes, and that's absolutely okay. You're just continuing your preparation. So good luck with that. I'm sure that you will perform greatly at the exam. And for now, if there is anything related with reading that you haven't already asked and you want to know, you can ask me because I pretty lot and I like it. So maybe I will advise you something that you don't know. Thank you for participation, and we'll see you at the next webinar. Thank you very much.